Hey there, friends. I hope that everyone has had a wonderful long weekend if you live in the States for Labor Day. I had an interesting weekend. I'm trying this thing. It's called being poly, where you have more than one relationship with somebody, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it has to be sexual or whatever. It could just be that you have different interests that maybe the other person you're seeing doesn't have. And the big thing about it is that you have to be very honest with the people that you're involved with about it. Surprisingly, a lot of people are open to it. It's kind of like, okay, yeah, we'll see how this goes. I've been seeing somebody since April who is a really, really sweet guy, and he's a single father. And he doesn't really have a lot of time for me, which is fine. That's part of life, being busy and taking care of your responsibilities as an adult and a father. So he knew from, the beginning that I was still interested in seeing other people. And he was okay with that. He said, I don't have any claim to you. We're not really dating. We're not really serious. We're just friends with, some benefits. And so I've dated other people, or I've gone out with other people, and some of them have not gone as well. But that's the point. That's the point of life. Like, you're going to meet people, and they're not always going to match your energy. You're going to meet people and you're not always going to mesh with them. Their priorities might not be your priorities. Their interests might not be your interest. And that's okay. It might be sad if you put in some time or effort into the relationship. But that's part of life. You learn from those experiences. You learn what you're willing to put up with and what you're not willing to put up with. What you should have done differently, etc. And I see how people get so hung up on the what ifs, or if I was just skinnier, or if I was just bubblier or whatever. And it's like, no, be yourself. There's people out there that want you, for who you are. So I started seeing this guy. It's been almost a month now, and we have some really interesting things in common. And he comes up the past couple weeks. He's come up like on a Thursday and stayed until Saturday or something. And we hang out, and we've watched TV and gone out, on like little trips, like the next town over, or whatever, just companionship. But he doesn't really have an interest in me like I have an interest in him. It's kind of like just two ships passing. We're right next to each other, and we acknowledge each other, but his mind is always on something else. And he finally admitted that to me. He finally said, I don't know why I'm this way. Maybe it's because the last accident that I was in, I hit my head, but I'm never able to be present. I think about what I should be doing when I go see my child. I think about my goals of what I want to do for my future. I think about everything except being present with who I'm with. And that really made me think about how I don't want a person like that in my life. Not for 4 days or however long he's been staying with me. I want somebody that wants to be on adventures with me, and that has things in common with me, and that even desires me. And I deserve that, and he deserves whatever he wants. And, we'll stay friends. I'm fine with that. But I'm not going to, I don't like saying the word waste, but I'm not going to waste my time trying to get to know people that aren't even actually available for me. Even if they're just in my presence, physical presence. My last relationship, my last serious one, that's how I felt about him. I care about him and love him dearly as a person. But I was completely alone for over 5 years. We just existed together, and once in a while we did things together, but it just he didn't love me enough. He didn't desire me. It just wasn't enough. And I go back to this, I've said this before, is that there's people in our lives, in the world, that don't have the capacity to care for us or to love us or to desire us that we deserve. Does that make them a bad person? No. There's people out there that have that same capacity that they have, that's where they belong with that match. So many people struggle with this idea that they meet a potential spouse or partner and they try to compromise, which is good, but there's a certain level, how much are you bending for them? Are they bending back? Are you guys able to reverse those roles and get the same thing back? And are you falling in love with potential? Because that's what I used to do. And the people that I would fall in love with or lust with or whatever you want to call it, they didn't see their potential, or they thought they were just fine with who they were that day and life. And it got frustrating because I'm like, you are so good at XYZ. And they're like, yeah, but I like what I'm doing now. Why should I be the one to push them to do what I see as their potential? It's not my responsibility. It's not healthy. So, yeah, I really like to be able to sit back and reflect about the past, 72 hours of my life and what direction I want to go with my relationship. And if it's even going to last as a friendship. And if it's not, I wish them well. I have no hard feelings toward them. They are a really good person and I want the best for them. But that doesn't mean that I have to stay in their life or they have to stay in mine. And I learn from my experiences. I don't feel like a failure at all. I don't feel like I did anything wrong. I'm being who I am. I'm being genuine. And, yeah. People are capable of changing their minds. People could be married and have 5 kids and one day just be like, this isn't working for me. I want a divorce. But so many people get scared. They get scared of the big changes. They get scared that they're not going to be able to afford to live on their own. They get scared that their children are going to be damaged. And it's like, your children are going to know that you're unhappy. Your children are going to know that you're miserable. Your children are going to know that mommy and daddy don't love each other anymore. I mean, I was a child of parents that are still married to this day, over 40 years, but are the most miserable people. All by themselves, they're miserable. So when they're together, they're miserable double time. And I see that they have glimpses of happiness, and that's good, but I don't want that. And that's kind of why I am trying this poly thing out. Do I want to have somebody in my life to grow old with and to have companionship? Absolutely. And I'm going to get that. But while I'm going to get that, I'm going to enjoy all of the things that I want to do, and I will find that person, or they will find me along the way. I'm not out trying to meet Mr. Right or Mrs. Right. I'm out just living my life, even if it seems boring to other people, and learning and growing and enjoying myself and making choices that maybe I would never have made before, and meeting people that end up not being on my journey with me, and it's still really exciting. It's still really exhilarating. I am always going to be a curious person, and I'm always going to give chances that maybe I don't need to give to certain people. That's just who I am. So, I don't know, it's food for thought. People think that if you meet somebody and they tick off boxes, but then they also have red flags, that they can just kind of put their blinders on and ignore the red flags. But with me, I'm going to be like, hey, I see these red flags. Let's talk about them. Because maybe they're not really red flags. Maybe they're just topics of conversation to have. I don't know. I'm learning a lot about myself as I go along the way on this journey. And I really like myself. I really love myself. I really feel that I am worthy of anything I want. Love, abundance, money, sex. We are all worthy of that. And it all exists. We just have to ask for it. We have to announce it. We have to manifest it. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to keep pushing forward and keep walking. I hope that you are all well. I would love to hear from you if you want to leave comments. You can also find me on social media. For now, I'm going to end this, and I will talk with you all later. Have a great day.